I would like to ask you about Iranian domestic situation.
Sure.
And government response.
Well, I think the whole world.
I mean, the Iranian.
Yeah, the whole world has been watching the Iranian regime's response to the recent elections. A lot of us think there's evidence that the vote was rigged, that the suppression that took place against the Iranian people by the regime was brutal. Demonstrations broken up violently, peaceful demonstrations broken up violently, massive arrests, in some cases people executed, efforts to shut down cell phone communication and computer text messaging. The regime looks like it is treating the Iranian people as the enemy. And our hearts and our sympathies here are with the Iranian people.
And how about the Obama administration respond?
Well, the Obama administration, I think, has handled this correctly, because the last thing the people of Iran need is for the United States to too crassly come down and intervene in these events. The regime has spent a great deal of time trying to claim that America is the great Satan, and in the end, developments in Iran are going to have to be led by the Iranian people. But the Iranian people should know that we are watching carefully. Our hearts were with them. We know the struggle that they have in front of them, and our hopes and our that their effort will be successful in changing the nature of the regime, but that primarily that is going to have to be the role of the Iranian people.
One of the most important things is sanction.
Yes.
I cannot call it against Iran, but is a sanction, you know?
Yes. It's not sanctions against. It's not sanctions directed at the Iranian people.
Exactly.
We talk about sanctions to get the regime to change its behavior, and that's what the goal is. This administration's first approach is the diplomatic one. Let's engage. Let's see if we can work through these issues. Let's see if we can provide a verifiable end to Iran's nuclear weapons program. If diplomacy is not working, then we are talking about not just America, but in concert with hopefully the Security Council members and the world community, but if not, a large number of the nations of the world, the kind of crippling sanctions that can tell the regime that your future, in terms of your economic strength and your ability to grow your own economy, will not succeed if you continue your current course.
And the calendar for the Puerto Rican?
Well, again, we have several dates in October where we're going to discuss the issue of moving 80% of the low-enriched uranium out of Iran for this medical program.
October.
We have another key date in October when the inspectors are going to see this recently disclosed enrichment facility near Qom, and meanwhile in the Congress we're going to start moving some sanctions legislation. The United States is engaged very directly with the members of the Security Council in a possible sanctions regime. In other words, our preference is the diplomatic solution, but we are not going to be caught by surprise if that fails. Too many other times, Iran, the regime looked like it was going to go ahead to resolve the issue and then change direction, and so we're not going to be caught asleep at the switch here.
Congressman, I believe religion and politics in all over the world is mixed. I'd like to ask you, what do you think about religion in government in Iran? That's totally is different. Am I right?
Well, it is. I mean, America has its own unique history here. This country, originally, the original settlers were who came from many cases from England and other countries, were deeply religious people. But they understood from their own experience in England that the government should separate itself from religion. It should protect the freedom of everyone to express themselves religiously, but it should not establish a state religion. Other countries have different histories and different backgrounds. In Iran, it was very much a part of the revolution was what was religion and the regime's leaders' notions of their notions of Islam, and it became part of the state. Very much so, and definitely part of the government. Although recent events, we see splits between some of the religious leaders in Iran, and sometimes we wonder if Iran, with its larger role for the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, isn't moving from a religious theocracy to a military rule. It's too many well-known ayatollahs with great reputations are splitting with the regime's interpretation of policies, and we see a corresponding increase in the power of the military forces in Iran.
And my last question is, what's your advice for Iranian American in this country?
Well, my advice is to take the traditional American way, which is to get more active in the events of this country, the political events, the debate on the major issues that the American government is confronting and trying to deal with, to be active, but never to forget the homeland. Part of the wonderful American tradition is you can be loyal to the United States and involved and engaged in the American political system, and still care deeply about the homeland, the place from where you came, where many of your relatives still might be. This has happened over and over again from the first wave of immigrants who came to America. And what I see with the Iranian American community is a growing awareness of the value of being active in the American political system while still keeping in contact with the forces in Iran and the relationships in Iran.
Thank you so much, Congressman.
It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Privileged to be here.